Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect here, along with, of course, head coach Scott Langer. Coach, Wings take 3 out of a possible 4 points this weekend with a win Friday night 3-2, leading that game 3-0 pretty much throughout. It maybe wasn't as close as the score ultimately ended up, but they get a power play goal and then a extra attacker with Friedman on the bench, and they get another goal. So again, the final there 3-2. But you got to feel pretty good about the way your guys played on Friday night, I would think.
Yeah, I thought about after, I thought that, after waiting a little bit and getting the ceremonies done, I thought our guys came out hard. They played well there in the first period, and it wasn't until we ran into some penalty problems, some discipline problems that we really fed their energy level. But, for the most part, I thought our goaltending was good, and we played hard and we played well.
Okay, and moving on to Saturday. And it ended up going to overtime. So again, you get the point, but end up with a 2-3 loss in that one where they strike first and maybe had a little better start. But again, you mentioned it too with the festivities and everything going on. Maybe not the easiest to come out focused the way a guy would like maybe. But what do you take away from Saturday night's game?
Well, I mean, I've never been part of a team or part of a hockey game where the hardest playing team didn't win, or the toughest team to play against didn't win. And I felt like we did some of those things on Friday, but I didn't think we were tough to play against on Saturday. I thought that we lost a lot of stick battles. We lost a lot of 50-50 battles. I thought Austin played really well. The positive is our guys showed a lot of spirit. In fact, coming back from a 2-goal deficit and finding a way, and then unfortunately, breakdown in coverage leads to an overtime loss. But what we learned from that game is you have to play 60 minutes. It's not just a cliche. People don't just throw that around for any reason. At any level where teams are as good as they are in the North American League, you have to play a full 60. And we spotted that team the first 20 minutes. We basically wasted 20 minutes of our life, and it cost us a game.
Well, overall, specialty teams, you mentioned it, Coach, on Friday particularly, giving them 5 power play opportunities and some things we talked about pregame Saturday, things that you'd like to see cleaned up a little bit. What do you think of specialty teams as a whole?
Well, I mean, to me, we were very loose on our penalty kill and it gave them their first goal. That probably shouldn't happen. And, it was good that we found a way to score in the power play, but, they weren't a difference maker. Our penalty kill has to be tough. It has to be tough to play against, and we can't allow pucks to be going through seams and making our goalie go east-west. So, we'll work on that stuff this week. But, you have to be prepared at this level. The officiating's young, and they're learning, and sometimes you're going to be on the bad end of penalties. It's just how it goes. So we have to be able to, especially in the first period, we can't allow them to generate offense off a power play and get energy off it. And I thought that's what happened.
Okay. We talked, briefly about the ceremonies and all that kind of stuff. Of course, the unveiling of the 3 banners on Friday night, and then the ring ceremony on Saturday night. Were you able to stop and kind of reflect, take a moment to enjoy those, the unveiling, and then of course the rings, or were you and your staff pretty much just focused on the hockey games that were to be played?
Yeah, it's tough to really enjoy that. When you have so much on your mind, and winning the game is the most important thing. And but after the game, when you go home, you really think about those guys that were here last year that hung 3 banners and were able to earn a ring. And once I finally got my ring, it's a great feeling. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really matter what's our guys have to come out and they have to have an effort no matter what's going on. We owed it to that team last year to celebrate something that's pretty special in the North American League, and that's a national championship. So as far as processing it, I think once the games were over and being able to just de-escalate a little bit, I did, and I'm really proud of those accomplishments and proud of those young men that did it.
Absolutely. It's great to see Brad Belisle and Thomas Rocco be able to come back and accept their ring. And of course, the players that on this team that were here last year getting theirs as well. big weekend overall and great crowds on hand here at the OD Ice Arena for those events. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll return with what's coming up after this from our sponsor. Well, as we continue on with Wings Weekly, Coach, we talked obviously about the Austin Bruins and the home opener here at the Odie. You've got them coming up again at the Riverside Ice Arena this time. What does playing a team like that back to back to back, does it present some challenges as a coaching staff? I know as players they can get a little frustrated and things get a little chippy sometimes, but as a staff, does it create more challenges than under normal circumstances? Like, are you trying to throw some wrinkles in maybe to get them a little off guard, or how does that work?
Well, I think that a little bit of all that. I mean, there's, it's unique when you play a team back-to-back weekends, home and away. But Coach Howard and I, we know one another. We know how we're going to approach the game. There's not a whole lot of secrets. I'm sure on the specialty teams you'll see some changes. But for us, they beat us at home on opening weekend. And as far as I'm concerned, and the players should be concerned, is that we're going to go into their building and try to do the same, take away their spirit on home opener night. It's two good teams. That team works extremely hard. Austin was a hard-working hockey team. They moved the puck well. I thought they managed the puck really well. And they're tough to play against. They're strong, they're big. But for us, it's a test to see if we're going to get better this week. Knowing that we dropped that big point and we handed them 2 points, we have to understand that we're not in the business of giving away points. And we have to go in there, understand that we're going in there to take points, and we're going to have a big weekend. We spend the next 3 weeks on the road. I think it's a great time for our team to get to know one another. Usually when you're on the road and it's just the family. Guys start seeing what people are all about, and teams become closer. So I'm kind of looking forward to this 3 games away from the OD, even though it's great to play here, but it'll make it that much more special when we come back.
Well, that kind of leads into my next question, actually, as you were talking about getting to know one another and so on. Is it too early to talk about identity and and then also, I guess, I was kind of thinking about, okay, you have a national championship team last year. Is that a model that you try to replicate, or does each team take on its own personality, its own identity? Or is it possible to try to replicate something
I think
that's
when
worked?
you have so many new faces, every team's going to have a new identity, a new approach to things. I mean, our standards are always going to stay the same, and our players have to play within our standards, but we may not be 4 lines deep as we were last year, or it's just we're a different looking hockey team, and I think this early on you're always searching for an identity.
Sure.
And I think that will surface sooner than later. But yeah, I mean, it'd be crazy to think that you can model your team after last year's team, and to do that with 20-something new faces. I don't think that's possible. So we take what we have, we're going to mold them and bend them. And the one thing that won't change is they're playing in a championship culture, and in a culture that, for the last 3 years, we were on the top of this division, and we've done big things. So we have to reach that bar, and it's up to the coaching staff to get these players to that level, and we're going to continue every day working on that.
Excellent. All right, Coach, a couple of new faces brought in this last week even. There was a trade that brought in Christian Abrams, and then Eder was added, I think Friday night, added to the roster. What can you tell us about these 2 players, and what did they bring?
Yeah, Noah Eder, he has a lot of international experience growing up in Switzerland, playing for the national teams over there. He was playing in the BCHL. And when we had the opportunity to get him, we thought that he would add some depth with his size and his work ethic. on the defensive end, we know we have to take some of the pressure off some of our top guys of playing 30 minutes of hockey games. So we have to get deeper in the back end. And Abrams is a player that's he's young, he's a first-year player, but he's a talented defenseman that's only going to improve. And then we also picked up Philip Tornquist from Sweden, who's a very talented defenseman that you'll see offensively does some really good things, and he's committed to UMass Amherst. So we're happy with our back end right now, and it's. I always say, it's up to the players in this room if they keep their spot. Obviously we'd like to get to a point sooner than later that we have our guys, we have our team, we're going to utilize what we have here, and we're just going to get better and better and better. But sometimes with youthful teams, you as a coach, you just don't know. With the inconsistencies in a youthful game, you just don't know yet if those players are going to make it or not.
Right. All right. Well, looking to see what those three additions will be able to do for the Aberdeen Wings, and as this team shapes up, as it moves forward. Speaking of moving forward, first of 3 straight on the road for the Aberdeen Wings, October 4th and 5th at the Austin Bruins, 7:05 puck drop both nights. Watch the game at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or on hockeytv.com, hopefully. There's some problems with that over the weekend. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Wings have begun the Day with the Cup promotion. If you advertise with the Wings or have season tickets and you want your business to spend a day with the Cup, contact Aaron Smith at 605-380-5852 to schedule. Remaining reserved season tickets and corporate night sponsorships are still available. Call Aaron for that as well. Well, that will pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly. Coach, again, thanks for taking some time to talk to us a little bit about the weekend, about what's upcoming, and, of course, these additional players. Again, on the road, next 3 weekends in a row, so tune in to 94.1 The Rock. This weekend, it's at Riverside Ice Arena in Austin. That'll pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.